If you never take anything else away from me, I want you to take this. Human beings make decisions emotionally, and then they justify them rationally. I'm going to say that one again. Human beings make decisions emotionally, and then they justify them rationally. Now, I know I just pissed off a lot of you on the political right because you're like, facts don't care about your feelings, Carlin. The right makes decisions based on logic. The left is the ones that makes decisions based on emotion. No. No. It is true that, emotions certainly factor in different ways in decision-making on the left than in decision-making on the right. But the fact of the matter is the way that our brain is hardwired to work, think of our brain as being split into 3 different parts. The first part of our brain is our survival mechanism. This is like the oldest part of our brain, is the most innate part of our brain, and it is concerned about things like food, survival, and sex. And that's it. That is the most powerful part of our brain. If we believe that our survival is at stake, if we believe that, we aren't going to be able to live another day, we're going to make decisions based on that thing and that thing only. The next part of our brain, it's called the midbrain. This is where we process all of our emotions, and this happens on a deeply subconscious level. And then we have the new brain, which is where we process all of our logic and reason, and that is actually the only part of the brain that we are consciously aware of at any given moment. Now, the problem is that most people think they are making decisions from that logical, rational part of their brain, but they're really not, because the midbrain, where we're having those where we're processing all those emotions on that deeply subconscious level, that is a much more powerful part of our brain than the logic reason part of our brain. So a lot of times human beings think they're making decisions logically. They're like, I trust the science. No. You made the decision out of fear, and then you looked for science to back up that fear. Or if we're talking about people who might feel safe in this world, unlike the crazy left, you might say, I don't feel like I need to be afraid and wear a mask or get a vaccine. And then you look for science to back up that perspective. This is why right now, both sides are literally claiming that they have science on their side, because in some respects, they do. It's just that they're only looking at the science that backs up the emotional decision that they've already made. Now, I don't want to get into a discussion of which science is the correct science. I mean, you guys should know my position right now. I only wear a mask when I absolutely have to. As of right now, I don't plan to get the vaccine. Not as things stand right this second. I don't feel like I need it. I'm not afraid of the virus at all. Although, if you want to get the vaccine, that's your choice, and I fully support you to be able to make your choice as an adult. Like, this is not medical advice for me. This is just my personal perspective. But I do think it is funny. It's funny, isn't it? That the people who are getting the vaccine, the people who've been wearing 3 masks for the last several months, those people are still afraid. Even if they have received the vaccine, they are still afraid. Why would they be afraid if they have their vaccine and they're wearing their mask and they're doing their social distancing? Why would they still be afraid to live a normal life if they have literally done everything that they can possibly do? And on top of that, the virus has a 99% survival rate to begin with. Why would they still be afraid? Because in the last year of 15 days to slow the spread, they have become addicted to being fearful. And it doesn't matter if we have the best vaccine in the history of vaccines. Getting a shot in your arm is not the thing that is going to help you overcome an emotional addiction. If you want to treat the emotional addiction, you have to treat that. You have to acknowledge what it is. It is an addiction to being afraid of living your life normally. That is the biggest fallout from the COVID lockdowns. This is going to be a problem that we're going to have to deal with for years and years and years, not only with the adults that have perpetrated this on a large percent of the population, but on what those adults have done to their children. We are going to be dealing with the fallout of the mental health and well-being of this country for, at least a decade. At least a decade, if not longer. And we know that because we can now see that people who should feel perfectly safe, if they were being logical, they should feel perfectly safe, are actually still some of the most afraid people. This is from a poll from YouGov. Half of vaccine rejectors believe it's safe to travel. Oh, so you mean these people that weren't afraid of getting the virus anyway aren't afraid of traveling? I'm shocked. Compared to 29% of adults who are vaccinated are still afraid to travel, because it is not about the science. It is not about the facts. It is not about the data. It is not about logic and reason. It is about an entire population in this country becoming addicted to fear. Let's read the results of this poll. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention now say it's safe for fully vaccinated Americans to travel. But science! But most willing to travel right now may reject much that the CDC suggests. In the latest Economist YouGov poll, 3 in 10 Americans who have received the vaccine believe it is safe for them to travel within the United States today. 70% of Americans who are already vaccinated do not believe that it is safe to travel. Okay. By contrast, half of the 1 in 4 Americans who reject the vaccine believe it is safe for them to venture out. Look at these polls. U.S. adults who have already been vaccinated, 29% believe it is safe to travel, only 7% by spring of 2020. 15% of these people who already have the vaccine says that it won't be safe to travel until 2022 or later, whereas 51% of the adults who have not yet gotten vaccinated says they believe it's safe right now. They're fine. Half of those who reject vaccines, 52%, also say it is safe for them today to socialize, compared to just 30% of all Americans. Another 45% say it is safe for them to go without their mask now. Just 1 in 5 Americans overall think it is safe to go maskless today. Dude, I still will not wear those masks until you put, until I am absolutely forced to, because I like breathing. I can't breathe in one of those things, dude. I like breathing quite a little bit. Many vaccine rejectors have little confidence in advice from leading medical figures like the CDC or Dr. Anthony Fauci. I don't trust either of them. The director of the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Instead, nearly half of this group trust advice from former President Donald Trump. Listen, I don't necessarily take advice from Trump directly either. Trump's not a doctor. But what I will say is that I trust common sense. I trust common sense that when Anthony Fauci has changed his tune 76 ways from Sunday, and I trusted him at first, man. I was on team Fauci right up until he did his cover shoot for In Style magazine. Even when he flip-flopped on the mask issue, I was still like, okay, he's pretty smart. We should probably listen to him. Right up until it became clear that he was more interested in celebrity than he was in actually helping people. You know when I stopped trusting the CDC? I stopped trusting the CDC when they came out and said, oh, hydroxychloroquine is fine. Psych. All that stuff that we said for months because we didn't like Trump, we didn't really mean it. It's actually fine and kind of helps people out. That was when I stopped trusting the CDC. It was based on their actions and their actions alone, not based on anything Trump said. Of only 21% of vaccine rejectors trust advice from the CDC, and just 13 trust advice from Dr. Fauci. For the most part, vaccine rejectors believe there is little risk to themselves from COVID-19. That's true. I am not at all afraid of getting this disease, and I think that, frankly, the vast majority of people out there, if you're paying attention to the data, you probably shouldn't be afraid of getting this disease. Now, you should talk to your doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a psychologist, so don't take medical advice from me. But when I see a disease that has a 99% survival rate for people in my age group, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be afraid of it any more than I'm going to be afraid of the flu. That just makes no godly sense. Half, 51%, rarely 29%, or never 22% wear a mask in public. Nope. Just 29% are even somewhat worried they might contract COVID-19, and 41% are not worried at all. I'm not worried at all of getting the disease. I think I'd be fine. And frankly, if I'm not fine, then I believe that it was my time to go. Right? I mean, that's just life, man. People get sick and people die. I have many relatives that died from diseases before their times. Is it pleasant? No, but I'm not afraid of death. And it frankly confuses me. I mean, maybe this aligns with people who a little bit of religion or spirituality would help them from getting sucked into this woke nonsense. But if your faith is real, if you're a Christian, then why would you be afraid to die? Honestly, if you have faith of something, a bigger picture apart from this human existence, then why would you be afraid to die? I'm actually, and this is not, like, I'm not in any hurry to die. God knows I want to live a long and glorious life. But I'm actually excited to find out what happens after death, because I don't think we just blink out. If we do, I mean, I guess, like, you know, again, I'm not in any rush. I'm not going to, like, do anything to myself or anything. But I'm actually excited to find out what happens when we leave our body and return to our spiritual form. I think that would be fascinating. And it's something that I look forward to experiencing someday way, way, way off in the future when I'm old and have lived a full life and have contributed what I have to contribute to the world. Let's see. This is the case even though many vaccine rejectors have experienced COVID-19 in their own circle. Yes, I have many friends who have had it. Half of vaccine rejectors have a close friend, 25%, or a family member, 27%, who have tested positive. 1 in 9, 11%, say themselves have been diagnosed with the virus. This group may consider themselves immune after infection, though the length of any immunity after a positive diagnosis is not yet clear. Vaccine rejection and skepticism is entwined within politics. Vaccine rejection is 5 times higher among Republican, 40%, than it is among Democrats, 8%. There is a success story among those 65 or older. However, 8 in 10 senior citizens say they will be vaccinated. 15% say they will be vaccinated or already have been. Okay, fine. I have no issue with anyone getting vaccinated, especially not if you're in a vulnerable population. And frankly, I'm not going to give medical advice to anyone. If you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. But I think the bigger picture here for this story is that if you're one of those people that has spent the better part of the last year plus living in fear, my greatest hope for you is that you learn how to, you remind yourself that life is worth living and that it's important to take advantage of it while you can, man. Living in fear of not traveling, not going outside, you know, being angry at everyone around you who thinks differently than you, it is not going to help you live a good life, man. One of the things I always like to refer to when we're talking about, you know, emotions is this emotion wheel. It's from the Gento Institute. And there, if you just Google emotion wheels, there's going to be a whole bunch of them that come right up. But the people who are, you know, still like getting vaccinated and still saying, oh, I just don't know if I can travel just yet, they're living their lives from fear, or maybe anger, or maybe sadness, but all of these negative emotions, whereas people who are not afraid of this, they're living their life from love, from joy, from surprise. What type of life do you want to live? Do you want to live a life from fear, or do you want to live a life from love, from surprise, from joy? I'm going to pick that one any day of the week, but it involves letting go of some of these fears, letting go of some of these negative emotions that are holding so many people back. It is so, so sad. I mean, even with people that I politically disagree with, even people that I cannot stand on a personal level, I still think it is an incredibly sad thing to watch such a large percent of the population live their life in fear when it is completely in their control to live their life in love, to find ways to be happy and joyous, and to take advantage of the time that we have here. You know, people who ran right out and got the vaccine and they're doing their selfies and putting their stickers, they might look at people like me who are not at all afraid of getting the virus, do not plan on getting the vaccine, do not wear masks, and they might think that people like me have a death wish. No. Dude, I got a life wish. I'm going to do everything I want to do while I'm here, and I'm not going to let a virus that has a 99% chance of survival stop me. And if I get it, and if the worst happens, then at least I was living life in the meantime. At least I wasn't holding myself back from doing the things that I wanted to do. I just don't understand why people think that life is worth living if you're spending all of your day living in fear. But that's just me. All right, just a little fun fact on a Sunday. I thought I'd do an impromptu video. That's all I've got for right now. I'll see you soon.